Hi, my name is Jaiprashant Mohanram and you are watching Car Talk. So today I am with the Mahindra BE 6C. It's a born electric car, very powerful car, 79 kilowatt hour battery. I'm driving this today. Let's give you a brief about the design of the BE 6C. As you can see, there's a massive aero scoop. This is almost like, a spoiler on the front. So you can look at the scoop, see how it is. So this is what defines this whole car. This basically gives it a very sculpted front look, and there is a lot of futurism. You've got these LEDs in front, 3 LEDs, daytime running lights on each side coming together to give it a very distinct look. In the dark, it looks very fetching. It's a little overcast here, so you can, see the lights. There are headlamps here, inset, projectors, cornering lamps, and then you have fog lamps here. So this is basically the front end and piano black bumper. So this is basically the front end styling of the BE 6C. So this is the key, a magnetic key of the BE 6C. I'll show you where it's at. Very beautiful place. But before that, let me give you a profile shot of the car. I've told you in the first impression, this looks like, the closest thing reference to me is the Lancia Stratos. This looks like a jacked up Stratos. Lot of edges and wedges, and that's why I'm calling this Stratos. It's not a large car. It's very compact, very beautiful, and very aggressive looking. So this is basically the profile of the car. Massive 20-inch wheels and piano black cladding all around. This is becoming a trend in the electric car universe. We first saw this in the Tata Curve. Now it's even in the BE 6C. So this is basically the profile of the BE 6C. Just take a look at it. Now, coming to the rear of the car, again, a lot of sporty touches in the car. You've got a nice spoiler here, a ducktail spoiler. Again, they've given you a piano black finish so that there is a little bit of contrast. The boot, again, a lot of profiling, a lot of sculpting. The bumper sculpted, and it's an electric car. You won't have exhaust, but they have given you, these 4 skid plates, which again add some aggression. And finally, there's a spoiler here. Okay, this is a car that looks sporty even while standing still. So guess what, guys? The door, it opens to more than 90 degrees. You just look at this. And now I'll show you the frunk. This car also has some more storage, not just the boot, but there is a frunk as well. You access it like you would with a regular ICE car. The bonnet, petrol or diesel engine, how you open the bonnet, that's how you do this. But you have to pull the lever twice because there is no lock here. There's no latch, in fact, like you would have in a regular car. And see, you have to hold it here. You can't hold it here because your fingers are going to get hurt. You do this, hydraulic struts. So this is the amount of space inside. And there is a load capacity, 35 kilos only. You can't store anything beyond 35 kilos. I think that's for safety purpose. They don't want the front to be unstable or something like that. So this is basically it. So I'll just give you a quick brief about the interiors. There's a massive center console here, and you can keep your hand here, and it's very sporty. Everything you touch is generally soft touch. See, this is soft touch. This is a nice armrest. The seats, there is fabric and perforated leather for ventilation. So feels very premium and very sporty. So that is a theme that runs across this car. And the plastics here, they're not exactly hard, not exactly soft, but there is a texture, there's a color. It feels soft. Overall, it's a very nice place to be. Okay, and there's a massive satin wraparound ring that runs around. It's almost like, I'm a fighter pilot. They say there is a fighter pilot theme, and I want to show you this as well. So just look at this. Okay, it's like, how you would have in a fighter jet. So overall, it's a very nicely appointed cabin. It feels luxurious. This is something that is going to impress a lot of people who just step into this car the first time, especially people who want something sporty. This ticks all the right boxes. So now I'm sitting in the rear seat of the BE 6C from Mahindra, born electric. So the fact is, it's a coupe. It's a coupe roofline. So generally you would expect headroom would be tight, but no, it's not. I'm wearing a hat, not to show my bald head or anything cover, but see, despite wearing a hat and having there's so much space. There is this much space above my head, thanks to the glass roof. Of course, you'll have a shroud that covers it. But anyway, enough space even for a 6-footer. That's number one. Number two, how they've managed to do this is very simple. They have a seat that's low. The seat is low, plenty of space. Trade-off is under thigh support is not all that great, especially longer distances. You are going to face a challenge with under thigh support. They could have done a Citroen like they did with the Basalt and given you under thigh adjustable under thigh support, but they haven't given it. So this is basically the issue. But the good thing is, since the floor is flat, they've at least been able to maximize headroom and really get rid of that issue that coupe SUVs generally have. So it's a win. Overall, very comfortable space. It's pretty wide. See, I can't even reach. I'm 5'7". I can't reach. I have to really stretch to reach the window. So 3 people can easily sit. It's a wide car. Okay, so currently I'm driving the Mahindra BE 6E. This car basically feels quite racy. As soon as you get in, it's almost like an aircraft. Everything in this car is like, the controls, etc., etc. It gives you the feel of an aircraft. So, and it's quite sporty. Look at the steering wheel. The steering wheel, it's almost like an F1 steering wheel, which is, scaled up rather than being scaled down. It's got that hexagonal, feel. I mean, look and feel, and feels very nice to hold. Right now, I'm in the fastest mode. This is called the race mode, and performance is just very peppy. It just moves. It's like you floor the throttle. You don't even have to floor the throttle. It's like, you have power on tap. It's almost like a supercar kind of feel that you have, a sports car kind of a feel, if not a supercar. You just have to tap the throttle and you've got thrust. So that's something really nice. And for people who like accelerating, it almost feels like a motorcycle, fast sports bike than a car. Okay, it's got that turbine-like smoothness because it's an electric and it just takes off. I've also set the region to level 3 so that I can basically drive without really having to brake at every point. Brakes, talking about brakes, extremely sharp brakes, nice brakes. I think this car needs that sharpness because the kind of performance on tap, you've got about 280 Newton meters, 280 bhp and 380 Newton meters of torque. That's, sports car level. Once upon a time, sports cars used to have this much performance, and now it's like this is a mainstream car under 20 lakhs or around 20 lakh rupees, and you've got this kind of performance, which is mind-blowing. This is basically, and ride quality, it is stiff, make no mistake, stiff setup. A lot of, as speeds go up, it manages to basically damp everything out, but at very low speeds, the ride is definitely stiff because we were coming out of ITC Grand Chola, the hotel we were put up at. From there, when I was coming out, the rumbler strips, etc., I could actually feel it, and the speed breakers there, this car had quite a bit of movement, and the ride was stiff. So low speed ride is stiff. As speeds go up, ride gets much better. So I'll have to put it out, through more bad roads to really give you a fair picture about how it drives. But so far, initial impression, stiff ride. Steering is quite heavy at higher speeds. It weighs up really nicely. Lower speeds, it's light. They have a variable gear ratio for the steering. This car picks up speed effortlessly, 80 kilometers per hour in a blink. Why not? 6.7 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. So it has to be peppy, right? It is extremely peppy. Guess what? It is the fastest made in India car money can buy, and at the price point Mahindra is offering it at least the base trim, which gets a smaller battery but the same performance. It's just mind-blowing. The last batch of Polo GTI sold under 20 lakh rupees, 1.8 litre engine. That used to do it at about 7 seconds, and this is doing 6.7 seconds. So it's so thrilling. It's what a great time to be alive and driving great cars in India. Electric cars, I think, have finally reached a point where, you can simply opt for them as a performance car at a very affordable price point. So this, I think, is the biggest takeaway. It's a very sporty car. Young people who like to get a move on, I think are going to prefer this car. And let me also talk about the range. See, a lot of people don't buy electric cars now because they think it can't be your only car. But here, the 72% left and I have about 316 kilometers. So effectively, if I'm in race mode, so this is the highest performance mode. So if I'm going to go to range mode and possibly try to maximize my range, I'm going to be easily doing about 500 kilometers. And if I'm going to be driving a 280 horsepower petrol car, I wouldn't mind a range of say 400 kilometers at the race mode, which is like I unlock 100% performance. So this can actually be your only car, considering that it's like a sports car. So I have a sports car, which can actually do 500 kilometers in you know, the range mode, which is like maximizing range, which I think is a fantastic outcome. So finally, somebody can go ahead and buy this car and say, it's okay, I have an electric car as my only car. So I think that moment has arrived in India with the BE6e and the EV90. We'll be driving that in a bit, but about this car, it can be your only car, and that I think is a huge takeaway. So I've been talking to you about how it drives and how it rides, basically the ride quality, where you can vary it using the multiple modes, etc., drive modes. But now I'm also going to talk about handling. This is an electric car we're talking about. It grips the road like a leech. You know, the battery is in the floor, integrated battery, and this is a born electric car, so the center of gravity is low, and direction changes, quick direction changes, absolutely no problem. And this car is a rocket, and the way it holds its line on long sweepers is something that has to be driven, experienced to be believed, rather than me just saying it. This feels very chuckable. You can filter in and out of traffic. You've got so much power at your disposal. Sporty car, basically handles beautifully, rides very good because of the frequency, you know, semi-active suspension. Overall, this is a car that, you know, assume that your father's about 60-65 years old and he wants an easy-going car. This car can drive easily, but imagine, you know, you're just about 20 or 25 or 30 years old and you really want to push your car, you want a sporty drive experience, this car can do that too. So it's basically got that dual character. All thanks to the drive modes. Mahindra has really done a fantastic job. I'm just enjoying the drive because the whole point is it's so enjoyable to drive. So basically we've reached the end of the Mahindra BE6e review. It's basically BE6e. So the fact of the matter is this is a very, very punchy electric car. It's one of the most fun electric car I've driven in a long time because of the 280 horsepower, peak power, 380 Newton meters, 0 to 100 in less than 7 seconds, 6.7 seconds. The last time we had something so fast on Indian roads was the DC Avanti. It's no longer being made. After that, we had the Polo GTI, again no longer made. So clearly, it's the fastest production Indian car, and that is what really stands out about this car. Apart from that, design, it looks very sharp. Pricing is on point. They haven't revealed the prices of two more variants, that is the mid and the high trim, but I think they're gonna pull off a rabbit again from the hat. So overall, fantastic offering. The Tata Curve is going to face heat because that is the other coupe SUV similarly priced. So they will have to drop prices or Mahindra is gonna eat their lunch. So guys, if you like this kind of content, you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe to Car Talk. I'll see you around next time.